In The Badger by John Clare, I realize that the badger is more scared of the people than they are of him. He is just trying to defend himself in a new and scary environment that the people are putting him in. As humans, we also do this. We act different in new situations or in things we are not used to, whether it be through anger and aggression or shy timidness. We all do this as a defense mechanism. We then see that the badger starts to fight off the dogs even though they are substantially bigger than the badger. This relates to the saying, never count out the underdog, meaning that not only the biggest in the fight will win it. Or the saying, it's not the dog in the fight, it's the fight in the dog, meaning that whoever has the most heart, which in this case would be the badger, is most likely going to win the fight. And we see that from how the badger wins the victory against the dogs. Badger. He feels bad that the badger has been domesticated. The badger is not meant to be a domestic animal. They are wild and instinct will always make them that way. Keeping the badger tame only takes away from the badger's true nature and gives it the urge to get back out into the wild. Later, the poet says she has come in contact with other creatures, but in spite of her fear, she is in a sense cordial and non-hateful with the other creatures. She was comfortable around them, even though her fear she would not try to harm these creatures or run from them. In A Narrow Fellow in the Grass by Emily Dickinson, I make the connection that she tries to catch what I infer is a snake, but it slithers away from her, showing that it is afraid of her even though later in the poem Dickinson reveals her fear of the snake as well. Here is where we learn of the poet's fear of the snake. Just as most people are, this connects to me because I have a friend who is incredibly afraid of snakes. She runs and screams from them every time she sees them. In the second stanza of Kennell's poem, he talks about how the porcupine resembles people, but none of the 7 things he writes resembles human beings at all. We definitely don't have a tail for climbing. The only thing reasonable, he says, is the line about overcrowding. Otherwise, I don't understand what he means by this. It is a pathetic appeal to a listener or reader. In this case, the poet talks about having pathos towards the porcupine. He asks us if we have any or if we've lost it, but that all depends on the person. Everyone has different emotions or feels for different things. At this point in the poem, he starts comparing himself to a porcupine, talking about things he has done that a porcupine may have, such as falling from a high place, or have fled over fields of goldenrod. But what relevance does this have to do with to the rest of the poem? Does he feel bad for the porcupine? Is he the one that killed him? I'm not sure.